Secretary of State John Kerry says he welcomes an investigation into the alleged cover-up of misconduct by diplomats and other officials. The State Department's Inspector General plans to review those charges, revealed by CBS News earlier this week.
I'm a former prosecutor. I can tell you, as a former prosecutor, I take very seriously an investigative process, and I am confident that the OIG's process, where he has invited outsiders to come and review whatever took place a year ago, will be reviewed.
Meanwhile, a second House committee is asking the State Department for answers. CBS News political director John Dickerson is in Washington. John, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
So the question comes, what's the impact on the president and the presidency?
Well, I think at the small end, the impact is that this is a distraction. We're talking about the latest scandal, and we're not talking about whatever the White House wants us to be talking about. At the worst end, this becomes, you get a feeling it's kind of a scandal a week related to the administration. And if that idea sets in, that there's a kind of rot, then we haven't seen that yet, but that affects the president's legacy. I think as a practical matter, though, when you talk to staffers inside the White House and in reporting I've done on the Hill, they're focused on implementing the Affordable Care Act. They're trying to get something done on immigration. The president's aides are talking to senators about trying to work out some kind of a deal on the budget. So they're trying to stay focused on the things that really matter to this presidency and only trying to spend a small amount of time putting out these little fires.
They can do more than one thing at a time. So should they be more aggressive in defending, in responding?
Well, you know, Dennis McDonough, the White House chief of staff, has this 90-10 rule that I keep being told about, which is spend 90% of your time on the things that are important to this White House, 10% on the scandals. That's wise for any White House. The problem is if they miss the one scandal that's important. And I think the one they're most worried about is still these IRS allegations. That's what people in the public really seem to care the most about. And it's the one that can affect the other things the White House is trying to do, to the extent that it affects total distrust or it increases total distrust in the government. So should they be more aggressive? I think on that one in particular, on these others, they should probably stay focused.
John, does this latest scandal affect Hillary Clinton since she was Secretary of State at the time?
And that is the most interesting political part of this State Department scandal. Is this is tarnishing Hillary Clinton's image as Secretary of State. It gives Republicans something to talk about. They obviously see her as the next Republican nominee in 2016. And so there's a real political motivation, even if people don't seem to care about that scandal or the Benghazi investigation in the public. They see a political target here in Hillary Clinton.
Speaking of Hillary Clinton, the former President Bill Clinton has said in a closed meeting, closed to press, reported by Politico, that the president should be more aggressive in Syria in supporting the rebels.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, it was reported, was pushing the president to be more aggressive, too. Former President Clinton seemed to be making a more general point about presidents and when they should engage. He was looking back on his own presidency and saying, you know, presidents can't be driven by public opinion. Talked about his intervention in Bosnia. I think this White House would push back and say, well, you know, this president took action in Libya, so he's not scared of public opinion. He's just being wise about the differences here. I think they'd also point to Rwanda, which is an area where President Clinton didn't intervene because of the logistical problems there. So it's a little more complicated, I think they would argue.
John, thank you so much.